Good morning, everyone. Jerry here, the hoodie, back with another daily live stream on Underdog Fantasy. And you know what it is? We're going to hop right in here with my Momo. He's just going to hang out with us today. No big deal. We are pick 12. Okay. We'll have a lot of time to fill in between our draft picks. A lot of stuff to talk about. My Mo's. Man, it's so distracting drafting with my cat. He's just so sweet. He just needs all the attention. This little guy. Okay, any names we recognize in here? A lot of red badges. Only one guy without a badge. Legio XIII looks a little familiar. Go Panda looks a little familiar. This might be a harder draft. We'll see how it goes. The 12 spot, probably not my favorite to pick from. I really don't like it in this, at least in the first and second round. I'm not a fan. However, the 3-4 turn is quite nice. So hopefully we can get some guys to fall to us. That would feel good. Hey, Los Mos. I gotta remember to deposit again today, just because I saw Underdog has another 25% deposit match. And at this point, literally all my big board drafts are just gonna be free because Underdog just keeps giving us free money, and I'm gonna take it. I don't mind depositing the extra money because I'm gonna use it in the summer anyways. So thanks, Underdog. Appreciate it. We got the standard first 5 players going in a bit of a different order, but Bijan, Jameer Gibbs, Puka Nacua, JSN, and Jamar Chase. This kind of feels like how it's going to go the whole year. Similar to last year, there was just a solid 5 players that people took. Might have been 6 last year. But anyways, solid players that people just took at the start of the draft. And it feels like it's hard to go wrong with any of those guys. And then you can kind of pick holes in guys like Jonathan Taylor, Christian McCaffrey. However, Jonathan Taylor could just end up being the number 1 running back again. If he stays healthy, their offensive line stays healthy, and their quarterback does as well. Ashton Jeanty, we see keep going higher and higher. Pretty much a staple of the first round now. So Achane, Trey McBride are at the top. Like I don't necessarily love any of them. I guess I'll take Achane. I'm not big on him this year, but we'll do that. And then I'll go ahead and take Drake London. Take Drake London, get a bit of a unique combination. Achane, not my favorite player this year, but I'm still going to mix him in some just because he can get 30, 40-point games. And when I'm drafting hundreds of teams, that's kind of just what you need to do. You got to mix these guys in. But Achane plays on the Dolphins. I think they're just going to be a dumpster fire this year. They have a new head coach. They have a new GM. And I'm sure other coordinator positions and positions on the staff as well. And as a Lions fan, one thing I learned this past year was that getting new coordinators does make a difference. I was a little blind optimistic that we'd be fine without Ben Johnson. Nothing would really change because we still have all the talent in the world. But it matters. The play call continuity, it makes a big difference. And the Dolphins are without that. They're without Mike McDaniel, who is just scheming them up. Achane getting open in the passing game, getting these wide open run lanes. So they have a defensive head coach now too. That stuff matters. It makes a difference. But like I said, we still got to mix them in some. Might be like my second draft with Achane out of maybe like 25, 26 drafts, which is, I guess, still kind of close to like on average 8%, with 1 out of 12. But yeah, Drake London, we took him above Neighbors and Jefferson. They're I like Drake London over Jefferson. Neighbors is a bit of a toss up. The only question mark is really his health. And again, you get new coaching staff. Drake London has new coaching staff too, but Kevin Stefanski, offensive minded guy. Harbaugh, more special teams, team motivator in general. And I don't know if they've even hired their offensive coordinator in New York yet. This third round feels nice. The players in the third round with Nico, Chase Brown, Jacobs, Kenneth Walker. Brees Hall, I'm expecting to go back to the Jets. Maybe on a franchise tag. If he signs a long-term extension, that's on him, man. All these guys keep signing long-term extensions with shitty teams and then just complain about it afterwards. Like Myles Garrett did that. Garrett Wilson, you see pouting. If Brees Hall goes back to the Jets, you'll probably see the same thing. Even Max Crosby now. Max Crosby apparently told Tom Brady that he's not going to play for the Raiders again. Wants to go to the Patriots, play for Mike Vrabel. Mike Vrabel. Or Mike Verbal, depending on who you are. Zay Flowers in the third round. Interesting. Okay, T-Mac goes. So I'm going to go ahead and take two receivers here. I'm going to take Ladd and JMO. We'll pass up on Garrett Wilson for this one. It's always tough for me to pick between these guys. I really like this pocket of receivers between A.J. Brown, T. Higgins, T-Mac, Ladd, JMO, Garrett Wilson. Feels really nice at the end of the third, start of the fourth round. And if you can get two running backs to start your draft and then two of those receivers, feels like you're set up pretty well. So our boy Legio the 8th, I guess, he started St. Brown, Hampton, Zay Flowers, Devontae Adams. So definitely a unique wide receiver pairing with two guys that normally go in the fourth round. However, I just think there's more talent on the board. Devontae Adams is someone who I was quite high on last year, going in the third and fourth round. But another year older, suffered some soft tissue injuries this past year. He will be back on the Rams, and they will have Matthew Stafford back. But he was very touchdown dependent, and can't really imagine he gets more explosive going into next year. However, he's still Devontae Adams, so good to mix him in here and there. And, man, Cam Scatterbo, I feel like I say it every time. I can't draft you in the fourth round, man. Not after you snapped your leg in half and it broke through your skin. That just, I can't do it. I can't do it. He wasn't even like that explosive of a player to begin with, more like a bowling ball type player who got touchdowns. Can catch the ball too, make people miss for sure. But when you get that gruesome of an injury, it's hard to imagine you just bounce back the same and if not better. In the fourth round doesn't feel so good to me. If it was like the sixth or seventh round, then I'd be on it. But it feels expensive. I'd much rather draft Tyrone Tracy at pick like 130 than Cam Scatterbo at pick 44. But that's just me. Wonder how they're going to use their players on the Giants now with that new coaching staff. It'll be interesting. Jackson Dart's also a big question mark. Not with his talent, because his ability to run the ball is clearly there, but he also just gets concussions. He was checked for concussions in like literally half the games he played. So we're one pick away now. The lemon just gets taken. I like the lemon. I'm not big on Jordan Tyson. I think I'm going to go ahead and take Jaden Daniels, get a solid quarterback that has our upside. And then I like taking a chance on either Brian Thomas or Marvin Harrison for a bounce back season. Brian Thomas, much more explosive, has more competition for targets. And I'm going to go Marvin Harrison and just hope that he gets that year 3 breakout. Could be sleeping on him a little bit. He was banged up last year. I think he dealt with some confidence issues as well and had Kyler Murray throwing the ball to him for half the year. Jacoby Brissett, it seems like, is going to be their starting quarterback, I would assume, since the reports are that Kyler will get traded and Jacoby is still under contract for another year. They're not going to be looking to be competitive and enter a bit of a rebuild. Next year is also a very strong quarterback draft class, apparently. So can see a lot of teams sort of just preparing for that instead. And Jacoby Brissett probably averaged like over 250 yards a game when he was playing and made Michael Wilson look like an absolute stud. So if him and Marvin Harrison can get on the same page, then I think the 6th round is a very nice value for that. Or he could just be a confirmed Nepo baby. Time will tell. Let's take a look at other people's teams here. No one really going too crazy or like weird strategies. I've seen like some people go very extreme builds recently. This one guy has Christian McCaffrey and then 5 wide receivers with Justin Jefferson, AJ Brown, Garrett Wilson, Christian Watson, DK Metcalf. I don't hate that. It's a nice build. You're just relying on Christian McCaffrey. But he doesn't feel like my favorite player in the first round. Christian McCaffrey might be my least favorite player in the first round, next to Devon Achane. Those two are guys that I will probably be drafting less of. There goes Jackson Dart and Michael Wilson. This guy takes Dart naked with no one else. I guess he runs the ball a lot, so not the worst decision. Harold Fannin. Man, I want to draft Harold Fannin. I keep saying it. I want to draft Harold Fannin, but it just feels expensive for someone who plays on the Browns. Even though he's their number 1 target, he gets schemed up, but he plays on the Browns. 1 pick away. Who do we want to look at? So none of these receivers really entice me, and I don't want to reach up for any of them. We don't need a quarterback. I'm going to take Sam Laporta for a tight end. And then I'm going to take another running back. And it's just going to be Blake Corum. Blake Corum or Kyle Monangai? Who do you guys like more? It's a tough one. It's a tough decision because they seem very, very similar. I'm going to take Blake Corum. It's just kind of who I end up taking a lot in this range. And it feels pretty good every time. Probably one of my most drafted players right now, if I had to guess. Now, I'm going to be hoping that Jared Goff comes back to us in the next round to get the double stack with Jameson Williams and Sam Laporta. We have a nice, well-rounded team so far with Jaden Daniels, Devon Achane, Blake Corum, Drake London, Lad McConkey, Jameson Williams, Marvin Harrison, and Sam Laporta as our tight end. Very balanced. Keeps us open for values that we see later in the draft, which is kind of how I like to do it at this time of year. I don't think I've drafted Tony Pollard once, and I'm not sure if I'm going to. Like, how old is Tony Pollard now? Tony Pollard age. He's 28, so Could still have another year left in the tank, but he also plays on the Titans. That's not very enticing to me. The thing with drafting Jaden Daniels is it's kind of hard to stack with him because him and Terry McLaurin, they go at opposite ends of the draft board now. And Debo, I don't expect to be back on the Commanders. I do expect them to draft some receivers, but probably not in the first round. They could go out and get a free agent maybe. But it's once you draft Jaden Daniels, there's not a lot of great stacking options available. However, he is a rushing quarterback, so you don't necessarily need a stack. He can get there with no one else hitting your lineup. Wow, Sam Darnold gets taken 104. So St. Brown is 2 picks from now. So we're hoping this guy doesn't take Jared Goff. Oh, wait. Jared Goff already get taken? What the heck, man? This guy took Jared Goff at pick 85 or 95? That's lame. Well, okay then. I'm going to go ahead and take Dave Montgomery. And do I want another running back or do I want... Honestly, I might have to just reach up for a quarterback. Do I? No, I don't. I don't have to reach up for a quarterback. Could go Denzel Boston, the rookie, or just get another solid running back in Tyler Algier. This wide receiver pocket feels like not the best to me. Actually, I'm going to take Woody Marks over Tyler Algier. I just think he has more upside. I'm not going to force another quarterback right here. I'm not going to reach all the way up for Tyler Shuck because I do have Marvin Harrison, and I like taking the chance on Jacoby Brissett later in the draft when I have him. And I have Drake London, so I can draft Michael Penix later as well. And both of these guys go 175, 187. So where do I pick later in the draft? 157, 180, 181. So I might have to reach up for Penix at 157 if I want to guarantee him on my team, which might be what I end up doing. We'll see how the draft board falls to us. I always think it's a good idea to try and plan those things while you're drafting. Look ahead on the draft board, see the players you want to look at, what picks you have, and the teams just before or after you that could need that position. Like the 3 teams drafting before me, all of them only have one quarterback so far. So getting them to fall back to me at 180, 181 might be a little tough. And depending who's on the board, I might just end up reaching up for them early, which I don't even hate, to be honest. It doesn't feel bad to me, not at this point in the year. But when you get later in the season and the best ball mania and stuff, you have to try and push it. You have to try and push it when you're competing with like 600,000 people. There are like 200,000 entrants in this. So pushing it can be good, but ADP is going to change so much at this point in the year. And it just doesn't matter as much later in the drafts. And sometimes even pulling guys up, you can get unique combinations with guys who are going undrafted right now. So there's always ways to look at it. But if you're going to do that and pull guys up ahead of ADP, keep that in mind. Keep that in mind for how you can make that unique as well. It's very, very important in these big contests to find those ways to get unique. Now, if Jaden Higgins is there, I might take him and CJ Stroud. He gets taken. Spoke too soon again. I'm going to take Tyrone Tracy, and I'm tempted to take a quarterback here as well, and then just get one of those guys later. Or we can just take another fifth receiver. Brenton Strange as well falls to us. We could get him. This is tough. Do I want to get a quarterback or do I want another receiver? I think I'm just going to get my receiver. I'm going to get Rashid Shaheed. We'll try a little different build. You know, we went balanced to start, and now we're getting a little more extreme with our build. And we're going to push it for our quarterbacks. I'm going to queue up Michael Penix because I'm probably just taking him next. Like, we could have taken Mendoza and backstack him with Trey Tucker. That always feels like a decent option to me. The reason I didn't take Brenton Strange is we're going to lean into Sam Laporta coming back to his true self as a top 3-4 tight end in the league, and probably look to draft 2 other tight ends later. And we caught back up at running back. We have our hero running back in Devon Achane, and then we went with Blake Corum, David Montgomery, Woody Marks, and Tyrone Tracy. All of these 4 guys I quite like the value of, and they just seem solid. They're going to hit our lineup, and they have spike week potential. Plus, if a starter goes down, then they're absolute studs. So it feels good to me. We got our 5 solid wide receivers with Drake London, Lad McConkey, Jameson Williams, Marvin Harrison, and Rashid Shaheed. And then we're leaning on Jaden Daniels coming back to form and Sam Laporta coming back to form. So I like that. I like that. You like that? You like that? Sorry, fuck, I couldn't help myself. It was right there. Romeo Dobbs all the way at 150 feels pretty nice. Be interesting to see if he goes back to the Packers or returns to Green Bay. Now, I'm probably looking at another receiver here. Man, all these quarterbacks are still here. If Cam Ward's there, I might just take him and try and push Penix. He gets taken. So I'm going to take Jalen McMillan, one of my favorite values in the draft. And A.J. Barner is always interesting. I like him as a tight end quite a bit, especially after his Super Bowl performance. But I'm going to just reach up for Michael Penix because I want to secure that quarterback. And I don't think I've drafted him yet. There's other tight ends available with our next pick, like Isaiah Likely. I'm going to queue up. Where is he? I'm going to queue up Jacoby Brissett too. I'm probably going to draft one more running back, although I really don't need to. I'm fine with these 5 running backs if that's how it goes. But being a 20-round draft, I'll probably get one more. Get 6 solid running backs. Maybe not the best quarterback room with Jaden Daniels, Michael Penix, both with injury history. But you got to draft like you're right. You got to draft like all these guys are going to stay healthy. All these guys are going to hit their ceilings. So that's what I'm doing. I don't have a team like this, so I like it. Jaden Daniels, Michael Penix, Devon Achane, Blake Corum, David Montgomery, Woody Marks, Tyrone Tracy, Drake London, Lad McConkey, Jameson Williams, Marvin Harrison, Rashid Shaheed, Jalen McMillan. Rashid Shaheed and Jalen McMillan just seem like staples on most of my teams, but it feels hard to go wrong with them. They feel like great values in the draft to me, and I'm just going to keep taking them. What other tight ends would I consider? I guess I would consider David Njoku if he's there. If Travis Kelsey falls all the way back, sure, I would take him. I don't anticipate that. Dalton Schultz, I'm really not interested in this year. Terrence Ferguson, Colby Parkinson are nice. This team is probably going to be looking like a 3-6-8-3, if I had to guess. Very balanced, well-rounded, hard to go wrong. So now I'm happy that I didn't take Mendoza because Trey Tucker wouldn't have fallen back to us either. I think one of the teams right before us has Mahomes. Does he? Who drafted Mahomes? Okay. The Mahomes drafter already passed up on Kelsey. So Kelsey comes back to us. Not my favorite pick, but I would take him at pick 180. Why not? TJ Hawkinson gets taken. Also don't like TJ Hawkinson. There goes Likely. That would have been nice. Come on, Iguodala. So will we get Kelsey? Nope. Goes right before. Of course. That's right. We'll get Jacoby Brissett. And then we will take David Njoku as well. David Njoku, a free agent. I think he's going to find the end zone. He's going to get on some team. Probably going to want to be on a more talented team at the tail end of his career, if I had to guess. And I think he still has some gas left in the tank. So pick 180 feels totally fine. He was still getting some touchdowns last year, even with the shady Browns team and new competition in Harold Fannin. Also dealing with injuries throughout the year, too. So feels like a decent bet to make to me. And when we reached up for Michael Penix, we were considering AJ Barner instead and hoping he fall back. So we really just swapped AJ Barner for David Njoku. And of course, I like AJ Barner more, but there's a world where David Njoku outscores him. Or just in week 17, you know? So it's a possibility. So getting unique like that, I don't mind. So we do have our 3 quarterbacks now. Jaden Daniels still unstacked, and we don't have any rookies on the team. When getting Jaden Daniels, I do like to get some rookies later in the draft. Or some veterans that are free agents. Like, I could definitely see Christian Kirk, a veteran, going to the Commanders. They could really use a player like him, actually. Someone in the slot. They love their old guys. So, might take my shot on that. Christian Kirk to the Commanders. Christian Kirk is one of my more preferred players to draft later, anyways. And I do also like Mac Hollins. It seems like he's rising up draft boards, but he gets long touchdowns. I assume he's going to be back on the Patriots. Connected well with Drake May. Saw that in the Super Bowl. Terrence Ferguson and Colby Parkinson get taken. I was kind of hoping one of those guys would come back to me. They go on the same team, which is interesting. This guy next to us drafted both Kyler Murray and Malik Willis. Where do you guys think Malik Willis is going to go? Hopefully not Arizona. Kind of banking on Jacoby Brissett being their bridge quarterback. Gunnar Helm, Mason Taylor, I'll happily take one of those tight ends if they come back to me. If Chico Okonkwo goes in free agency, Gunnar Helm feels like a pretty nice value at pick 200. And Mason Taylor, going into his second season, no real target competition on the Jets outside of Garrett Wilson. So we'll go ahead and take Mason Taylor. Now, do we want a receiver here? or we can get a running back. Rashard Smith is someone who I quite like drafting as a sixth running back. So I think I'm going to do that and then just end off with two wide receivers. Could get a rookie in Zachariah Branch. Has a cool name as well. But I'm going to go ahead and take Rashard Smith. Rashard Smith, if he does end up just in that Jerick McKinnon role, doesn't even need to get any carries a game. But if he gets like 3-4 catches a game and then the occasional long touchdown pass, then that's a very worthy pick. Saw him getting used more later in the season as well. And Kansas City, obviously not afraid to use their 7th round picks. Saw that with Isaiah Pacheco. Are there any Washington receivers besides like Luke McCaffrey? I'm not interested in. Traylon Burks could be an interesting dart throw, but he's also done nothing in his career. Jalen Lane, maybe, if he takes a step up. See, ankle, plays Jalen Lane on injured reserve Monday. 4th round, unlikely to play against the Cowboys due to an ankle injury. Yeah, so like these receivers on Washington are all just like big question marks. Could just take Luke McCaffrey. I might actually just take Luke McCaffrey. Why not? Take a chance on someone that could just take a step up because this Washington wide receiver room is completely empty. He's going to be going into his 3rd season. He missed a lot of games with injury last year, still found his way in the end zone. You never know. It's good to get guys who are very rarely drafted. Like, no one's really drafting Luke McCaffrey. And if he spikes in the right week, could be good. Clearly has the right bloodline. So that's always a bonus. Malik Washington, I think, is a decent pick. Jalen Noel, Rashad Bateman, Matt Collins, Christian Kirk. All these guys feel like pretty decent picks to me. I might go Matt Collins over Christian Kirk if I do want to take Luke McCaffrey. I think I am just going to take a chance on Luke McCaffrey. Why not? Take Luke McCaffrey. And yeah, I'm just going to draft Matt Collins. Different last 2 picks, but it's good to get different in the last couple of picks, not just draft the same guys each time. Take a chance on Luke McCaffrey. If he's a 0, who cares really when he's going with my last pick or 2? So we end up with Jaden Daniels, Michael Penix, Jacoby Brissett, Devon Achane, Blake Corum, David Montgomery, Woody Marks, Tyrone Tracy, Brashard Smith, Drake London, Lab McConkey, Jameson Williams, Marvin Harrison, Rashid Shaheed, Jalen McMillan, Luke McCaffrey, Mac Hollins, with Sam Laporta, David Njoku, and Mason Taylor as their tight ends. Feels good, feels solid. Bit of a different team, a lot of upside and ambiguity, which I think is good to lean into at this time of year. So I don't hate it. Not my absolute favorite team, but doesn't feel too bad to me either. So that's going to do it for me. Just one draft today. Thank you very much for watching. I'm Jerry. Come back tomorrow for another daily live stream. I love you. Joy is beautiful. End stream.